right, it's awesome to be here right now. I didn't sleep 1 minute last night, and I mean that. On today's show, the Expect Better podcast is a man who's had a great influence on my life. Somebody who's so accomplished, just has an incredible resume. Coach Gary Palladino. Welcome, Coach.
Oh, it's an honor to be here. Trust me. We're all as good as the people around us. And when we went to the state championship game, it was Gaetano Mara. That was the key to that run.
I don't know about that, but
it's true. You were a great player, and you had great work ethic, and I have a lot of respect for you. And I really am humbled that you would ask me to just say a few words.
Yeah, well, again, your life has been such an amazing roller coaster. You've written a book. We're going to talk a little bit about that later. I'm not a person who writes things down. I like to kind of, ad-lib and speak from the heart type of thing. But you have so many accomplishments that I didn't want to leave some things out. So I just took some quick notes. I'll talk about it as we start our time today. You had a 31-year coaching career?
Actually, 45 years.
Okay, so 31 years at Notre Dame?
Okay. I started out at South Catholic in 1968. That's a story in itself.
Well, we're going to get there. That's in here. So
45 years.
45 years. You've amassed 552 wins?
Actually, 561.
561, okay.
Counting the college years.
Gotcha. Okay.
5 years as a head coach at University of Harvard.
So was the 552 high school?
No, high school is actually 499.
Oh, okay. So it's a lot of wit. 499.
499. We
needed one more. It's my fault.
No, we lost Manchester in the state tournament at the end. No, I tell you what, a lot of it was just luck. Ball didn't roll the right way. You could have said the same thing last night about St. Peter's.
Yep.
One of those things.
One of those things.
Yeah.
So you've gotten 2 state titles with St. Paul's, 74, 75?
Back-to-back state championships, and the most memorable one was, of course, 75. We won 5 games by 9 points.
Okay.
5 games by 9 points, and those 5 games were all won in the last 10 seconds.
Wow. Okay.
2 in overtime.
Wow. You have a pretty good memory of all that.
You don't
74?
You don't forget those.
I don't remember what I did yesterday, Coach.
You also don't remember forget Mark Noon, who was...
That's right.
You're as good as the people around you.
Well, yeah. Mark Noon was a great player.
No question about it. Like Keith Bullock was at Notre Dame. And Greg Mangano.
Oh, yeah. Great players.
And Gaetano Mara.
I appreciate those kind words,
I mean
Coach.
that.
We had a good run. We'll talk about the run later. But you were also a three-sport stud, played football, basketball, and baseball. I don't know if a lot of people know that about you.
Well, I'm not sure how many people outside of Bristol would know that.
Yeah.
But I actually was headed to the University of Utah to play football.
Oh, wow.
That was probably my best game in high school.
What position did you play?
I was a halfback and a linebacker.
Okay.
And played for Coach Fred Duval, who actually went on to coach at Nebraska and Colorado. And he also coached in the Rose Bowl. He actually still keeps in touch with me. Coach Duval was 24 years old, and I was 18. And that's when we met, and we won our first football game in 1962 at Bristol Eastern. We beat Wyndham 12-6. I was fortunate enough to get a great pass from Dick Galliette, and some great blocks from Mike Morin. And then that's when I started really believing we're all as good as the people around us.
Totally.
So we won 12-6, first football win at Bristol Eastern, and that was really what I was looking forward to doing. Unfortunately, we couldn't afford the train ride out to Salt Lake City.
Wait, so was football, was football the sport that you maybe, if you had a guess early in your life, the sport that you were going to...
Oh, no doubt about it.
Football was your...
Well, my father played for Fido Murphy, who was a great coach, scout for the Chicago Bears. He was coaching prep school in Stratford, where my father played in prep school, and he actually made some great contacts for me at Utah, Arizona State, and Colorado, and that's where I thought I was going to end up, but I unfortunately wasn't able to afford it, and they wanted me to go to prep school too, and that wasn't in the plans at that time.
Yeah. Well, God works in crazy ways, right? How do you end up such a successful basketball icon?
End of August, the University of Hartford called me up and asked me if I'd still be interested in, playing basketball there. That was 1963.
So you played 2 sports at the University of Hartford. Is that right? You did basketball and also baseball?
Yes, 4 years.
339 batting average there?
Yeah, it's
I got to check my facts. I started off bad. I was totally off with my win, so I'm second guessing
it
myself.
was 339.5.
Oh, okay. I rounded it down. I probably should have rounded that up to 340.
No.
So you're also the first basketball player in history of the University of Hartford to score 1,000 points. Do I have that right?
That's absolutely right.
Okay.
1966.
No small feat.
No, it was actually a great memory for me. My 1,000th point was against CCNY in the city at the buzzer to take us into overtime.
Oh, wow. Is that the game that you scored the most amount of points in your...
I scored 40
5
at the buzzer and then 5 in overtime.
Yes.
And tied, Mark Noon tied my record of 45.
I saw that. You can tell I did some homework. Everything I'm reading is on the internet, so you can't
I'm
always...
very humbled that you would say that.
I spent quite some time preparing, although my facts are a little questionable early on.
I got another trivia for you. Vin Baker, who was
Yes.
one of the all-time great players, scored 44 points in 7 games.
Oh, well.
At the University. Well, I was cheering
It's
for
a
him.
set of steak knives. Second place doesn't do it for us.
Yeah, and I always said, he's 6'11", and I was 5'8", 9".
Yeah,
So it's not about height.
Well, listen, while we're talking about Vin Baker, let me ask you this. I noticed you set this, your 1,620 points.
Yes.
You're 6th all-time on the scoring list at the University of Hartford.
All right.
Other than Noon, did everybody else have a three-point line?
Well, there was no three-point line until 87.
Correct. That's where I'm going with this.
Yeah, I tell you what, a lot of people have mentioned that to me. I probably would have scored a lot more, but I disagree because I'm a big believer in take what the defense gives you.
Oh, yeah.
And
I've heard that a few times.
I watched St. Peter's last night, and just the shots that they were taking. I mean, they were out like almost 35 feet out, and sometimes I think we take too much stock in a three-point shot.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I was trying to find a way to justify that you'd be the all-time leading scorer, but
well, I could probably. I'd have to say I probably would make maybe 2, 3.
Okay.
The 3 points. Other people would disagree, but yeah, I'm really humbled that I was just able to play with so many selfless players and play with a coach that allowed me to play for 40 minutes. I mean, that's a big
kept
part.
you in the game.
I mean, you see players today, they're playing at 20, 25 minutes.
Yeah, they're tired. They're soft.
Yeah, and they're
Soft,
scored
coach.
16, 18
They didn't
points.
have you pushing them.
No, that's thank you.
They didn't have you. So 28.5 points a game was your average in 1965, correct?
1966,
65, 66, right? So 28.5.
28.5, yeah.
And you were named that year All New England and All East,
Yes.
correct? And then was there also a team for people under a certain height?
Yeah, it was called a small All-American team.
Small, what was that about?
That was players under 5'10",
Wow.
and I was selected as one of the top 10 players in the country on 5'10" and under.
And how tall are you? Are you 5'10"?
I'm 5'9" and 3.
Are you still 5'9" and 3/4"?
5'8". I guess.
5'8"?
I'm really humbled that I was able to play. Really, it's a lot has to do with the right place and the right time and who you're playing with, scheduling. So I was really fortunate to be even asked to play at the University of Hartford back in 1963.
And in your book, there's an amazing story about, it might even be a chapter, which we'll talk about, because I'm going to basically model the interview today on your book. So you should be able to speak about it since you wrote the book, right? But you talk about your school counselor bringing you in and telling you that you got some letters from some colleges, but they're going to recommend you enlist in the Army? Is that correct?
That's a true story. I'm not going to mention his name, but he had a stack of letters on his desk.
Okay.
He said, these letters have your name on it. But as he slid his hand across the desktop, he pushed the letters into the trash can and said, you can't get into any of these schools.
Wow.
You'll never go to college.
That's unbelievable.
So that was a wake up call, and certainly a big hit in my confidence.
So what made you feel like you could do the Hartford thing?
Well, actually, I think that the Hartford thing came down to I'd love to play sports. I love to play basketball, football, baseball. That was really my lifestyle. And always involved in a contest or going to the Boys Club, which was a gift for me, the Forceful Boys Club. I was in the right place at the right time, surrounded myself with people that like to play sports, and so I just wanted to pursue that interest in sports.
Great, yeah.
And the University of Hartford, quite frankly, it took a chance on me. I mean, I struggled. It took me, 6 years to get my degree, but I finally got it. And, it's true. All good things take time, patience.
Mm-hmm. So do you still have an ongoing relationship with the University of Hartford? Do you still connect with anybody there?
Well, actually, Coach Gallagher, the head coach, does communicate with me, emails me.
Okay.
He invited me out to lunch a few times, and I've been back to support his team. And unfortunately, they're for him, they're going Division III, which is another story I could share with you.
Yeah.
Well,
Love to hear it.
Okay.
Let's go. That's what we're here for. We have all morning. So
back in 1979 and 80, I was told that the university was going to pursue Division I. They asked me my opinion, and I thought that, quite frankly, it was a mistake. I said, I think, our basic goal should be to get better at Division II. Division I, because of the University of Connecticut, because of the other Division I programs, Yale and State, and there was a lot of them now. I thought it would be risky, and I didn't think that they'd be able to pursue the level they wanted to. And so they kind of held that against me too. I just didn't think the university was properly prepared to go Division I, stay Division I.
Okay.
It turned out to be right.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a financial thing. I mean, it lost millions and millions of dollars.
Oh, I'm sure. I mean, how much of a big business is Division I basketball? I mean, it's pretty big, right?
Yeah, my reflection, when I look back, was not so much the basketball, but what about the other programs?
Yeah.
What about the cross country? What about the other teams, soccer and baseball? It would be just an enormous challenge and costly, very costly. So that was just my 2 cents. It meant nothing.
No, I mean, listen, you were right. So it means something.
Well, I feel bad because of people like Vinny Baker, and people like that.
Yeah.
And certainly, Coach Gallagher did a great job, but he struggled this year. The word got out that they're not going to stay Division I. So.
Yeah, that can't help for recruiting.
No.
You talk to Vinny Baker?
No, I was invited to speak at his camp in Old Saybrook a few times. And that was before I retired 9 years ago. And, of course, I know him, and we've spoken, and he was nice enough to ask me to lecture at his basketball camp.
Yeah, I wonder what he's up to these days.
Just a great talent.
Yeah, great talent.
Yeah, but when Jack Phelan recruited him, he wasn't the 6'11" guy.
Did he shoot up late in life?
Yeah, he
what
was
happened?
like 6'6" when I think they went to Hartford, and he grew, and obviously progressed. His skills were outstanding. Great career. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. So then you fast forward, and we're gonna bring it back. We're gonna bring it back to your youth. We're gonna talk about some things. But in '97, you're Coach of the Year at Notre Dame High School, West Haven, Class M. Which is a great accomplishment. That would be Jason Shea's senior year.
Jason Shea senior year. That's right.
So
we need to understand, though, as people involved with sports, we're all as good as the people around us. For example, we don't get to the state championship game without Gaetano Mara, number one ball handler, leader on the floor and off the floor. And so, I was really blessed to have Coach Shea. Obviously, was a real selfless player.
Yeah.
Played for
Connecticut College, right?
College, yeah. And
they made a nice run in the national championships, D3, right?
That's right. They went to the finals. Played for Glenn Miller, who was now the head coach at St. Joe's.
Oh, okay.
In West Hartford, was Jim Calhoun's assistant.
Who worked harder than Jason Shea?
Probably Gaetano Mara. No, really.
The two of us were, growing up playing together.
I know he did.
We were exposed to the same coaches, hung out on the weekends, did the same type of stuff. So it's great to see the success that Jason's having with his programs, his youth programs, and then obviously, with the Notre Dame boys basketball team. It's just great to see that. I'm a follower, even though I'm afar. I follow.
Well, he was a great. I think a co-head coach with me in the last few years that we coached together.
That's right.
He was a great associate head coach, you might say.
Well, he knows the game.
Very, very, very smart and very dedicated, and he realizes also that we're all as good as the people around us. So I mean, he's got good players, and he's got great assistants.
Oh yeah.
And one is my stepson.
That's right.
Sean Griffin. Yeah.
That's right. Good team.
Very, very good.
How are they different? How do they complement each other? Would you say?
Which team?
Coach Shea and your stepson.
Well, I think Coach Shea realizes the importance of we're as good as the people around us, and Coach Griffin is very, very bright. He has a great feel for the sports. He played football for the great coach Mark Cucci.
Coach.
He's the head golf coach.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's an excellent golfer. Outstanding. He shoots in the high 70s.
You play golf, Coach?
No, I never played. I couldn't afford it. With 3 kids. I was a terrible golfer anyway.
Tough game.
Yeah, it is a tough game. But Coach Shea has great intensity, drive, and knowledge. And he's very dedicated to Notre Dame. And I knew that when he was in the business world, and I asked him if he would be interested in coaching basketball.
Yeah, very successful businessman.
Very successful.
Nobody gets into Catholic education or coaching for money.
No.
Right? What are they doing it for? The love of the game, to impact kids and the youth and watch other people grow.
Well, I was really fortunate because I started out with basketball camps in Hilltop, that's right.
I was there.
Hilltop, that's right. And we go back to South Catholic when I was, coaching at South Catholic with the great Joe Riley. We had camps there, and that extra money in the summer was just kept us going.
Yeah,
kept us going. And I'll always remember telling my wife when we got married in '68, if we could just make 5 figures. I said, we're going to be golden.
Wow, 5 figures.
I was making, if I can just crack that 5-figure number, Now, if you don't make 6 figures, you're in trouble.
6 figures is tough, Fairfield County anyways. Yeah. It's, very hard to provide for a family of 4 or 5 with 6 figures.
Well, looking at your beautiful office, you're at 7 figures, and God bless you.
We're trying to get there, Coach. We're doing well, but we got a long way to go here.
I'm a big believer in we're as good as the people around us, and it's people like you, certainly, Keith Bullock, Greg Mangano, Mark Noon, Jason Shea. Jason Kirk now.
Oh, yeah.
Won the state championship.
Sacred Heart Academy.
He was a great player. Bowden, and he was on the team when they won they were in the first CIA national championship run at Bowdoin College.
Yeah.
And that was a great feeling for me. And then, of course, Frank Rossi's he's at Morgan, who was my assistant. And
I remember him.
Yeah, and I can't forget Danielski.
Is he coaching?
He's coaching at Shelton, girls basketball.
Really?
A great player, all-state player.
I remember.
Oh, yeah. And, of course, Matt Kingsley played for the great coach at Wesleyan, Herb Kenny.
Oh, okay. Is he coaching at Yale or Harvard?
He's the assistant coach to the Yale varsity coach.
That's right. I follow him.
Yeah, and he's done a great job at Yale.
Wow.
Yeah, Matt Kingsley, great coach, and hopefully he'll get a head job someday.
I'm sure it's coming.
Yeah, he's just special people, and then there's Steve Phelps at St. Paul, where he coached. He played for me at St. Paul back in, '74. So I've really been fortunate. We're all as good as the people around us. Let's face it. And that's something I'm gonna always believe in. People like yourself.
Totally. You have to surround yourself with people smarter than you, better than you, that can offset your skill set,
and
right?
Loyal.
And good one.
And
there's not a lot of that in the real estate business.
Is that right?
I consider myself lucky. I feel I do have an amazing, loyal group of real estate agents. So I do feel blessed, but I know that it's a tough business. Somebody's constantly offering them, you should come here, I'll give you a sign-on bonus. And I said, listen, nobody gives you any money without expecting it back in some way, shape, or form. So just be careful going somewhere just for money. But overall, I'm very blessed to have a great group of agents here, and we continue to grow, which is what I'm most proud of, seeing their success. Not really selling anymore. It's not about me at all. It's completely about, the agents that affiliate with Better Homes and Gardens, and watching them grow is why I do. I am now a teacher of real estate and coach of real estate. So it's been a nice segment to, transfer into that role. And everything I learned having you as my high school basketball coach, as you saw downstairs in my training room, your sayings are decaled like this background on the wall, and it's had a tremendous impact. My son, who is 9 years old, if I go to him and say, hey, don't be on time, he'll finish with... Be early. Be early. That's right. And he's, 9 years old. So he's the first one at practice, shooting around by himself. And, certainly the last one to leave as well, which may be a problem down the road. But for now, I love every second of it. And you instilled that in me, and had nothing to do with basketball.
Well, I'll take it a step further. First of all, I appreciate it. I'm humbled by those words, but I think it starts with your mom and dad. You were grounded in humility.
Totally.
You know the rule. We're all as good as the people around us.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and your success certainly centers on humility and grace, and recognizing that it's not a one person show.
No,
certainly in coaching for sure. I mean, you got to have. I look at the Division I basketball programs now, and there's like 5 assistant coaches on it.
I know. What are they able to do?
Oh my gosh.
One doing laundry. Like, what are they? What does 5 coaches do? I guess you need them, right?
Yeah, you need them on that level for sure.
Yeah, you need them.
You need somebody just to watch the weight room and watch film and It's
was recruiting.
It's very different than when I was coaching for sure in college. Today it's all about getting the best players you can.
Yeah, totally. And then the culmination there of coaching Connecticut High School and National High School Coaches Association Hall of Fame member.
Yes. Thank you very much.
That's a huge accomplishment. Talk to us about that. What was that like, getting inducted into those Hall of Fames?
Well, anytime you get involved in a Hall of Fame, you got to really. First of all, acknowledge the people around you. We're all as good as the people that we surround ourselves with. I've had a great support system, I was in the right place, let's put it that way. And, players like Mark Noon and Keith Bullock and Greg Mangano, and going back to, South Catholic, we had Fran Laffin, who was an All-American at St. Michael's. You gotta be realistic and honest with yourself. We're all as good as the people we surround ourselves with.
Yeah.
And a lot of it has to do with luck. Your scheduling. We're as good as our schedule.
Yeah.
And your assistants. I've been blessed with some great assistants.
Oh yeah.
We don't win 2 state championships at St. Paul's without Coach Tom Dickow. He never even played the game, but we grew up together. His house and my house in Forestville, Connecticut. We were back to back, and he had a big cow pasture in the back, and we kind of grew up together as young kids. And then he ended up at St. Paul's with me when I got that big break. To get the job when Don Perno went to University of Connecticut. I'll never forget that summer because our good friend was Jim Valvano.
Oh, wow.
God bless him. Yeah, we ran camps together, Coach Perno, myself, and legendary Don Ferrar, who was a great player at Wilbercross, and MVP in the state tournament, and played with Don Perno, ended up at the University of Connecticut with D. Rowe. Great friend. I mean, when I lost my job at Hartford, D. Rowe was there. Coach Rowe and Coach Perno were knocking on my kitchen door.
Wow.
I'll never forget the first thing they said is, "What can we do for you?"
Wow.
And that's why I'm a big believer in we're all as good as the people around us.
Yeah.
Coach Rowe spent some summers in Brazil, in Paraíba, and then he offered me the opportunity to go to Brazil and coach in the summer.
Yeah, there's some mention of that in the book also, right?
Yeah, so that was a great experience meeting the Brazilians and coaching in Brazil for a short time.
Wow.
But again, we're all as good as the people around us. So I was fortunate, right place, right time, and that's where I met Coach Valvano. We played 1-on-1 together, and I'll never forget.
Really? Did you take him out?
He made me laugh so hard.
Did you beat him?
I couldn't. No, he was a great player.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he actually he was point guard for Rutgers, and he really made Bobby Lloyd an All-American. Bobby Lloyd was an All-American, and God bless Coach Valvano. We've got some great memories together.
Who was the best player you played against?
Best player I played against?
Against.
Wow, that's a good question. Let's see. Best player I played against. I've never been asked that question.
That's a tough one. We could circle back.
Let me see. Let me just quickly. Probably Eddie Griffin.
Okay.
Hartford Public.
Okay.
He was the guy that retired me from the Hartford Capitals as a player.
Okay.
And he was an all-state player at Hartford Public and All-American at Linfield College.
Okay.
I'd have to say Eddie Griffin is probably be on the top of the list.
Okay.
And I'm sure many of the people that are in their 70s have no basketball.
Well, I'm hoping there's some old timers that are going to listen to this and say, hey, you know what? I got some stories I can tell about Gary Palladino, and that's when they're really going to come out.
Way down the list.
No, I don't know about that.
No, I was lucky.
If you scored 1,600 points in college, you're and with no 3-point line, you're
actually, it was 16-20.
Oh, sorry, my fault.
I missed a few free throws.
Yeah, what was your free throw shooting percentage?
That's a great question. You know, that's when I started to realize how important that shot is. The free, I don't call it a throw, I call it a shot, free shot.
Yeah, I can quote your sayings too. The fingertip control, first motion up, second motion out, relaxation, concentration,
and follow through.
See that?
And freeze the follow through.
I can't remember what I did yesterday.
Yeah.
And I can remember that. Isn't that sick?
Relaxation, concentration, follow through.
That's right. Wrinkle, window, elbow.
And when I watched, last night I watched the game, and I'm thinking to myself, wow, they would be so much better, these players, if they took a deep breath, take 10 seconds. You got, you got 9.9 seconds to release it.
Yeah.
Relaxation, concentration, follow through.
That's right.
The missed shots that are taken because, there's so much excess motion. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. So you were watching that game. Did you not see Will Smith slap Chris Rock at the Oscars last night? If you haven't seen that yet, when you go home later and you turn the news on, be ready for it because it happened.
Actually, I did see it on CNN this morning.
Did you see it? Yeah.
I'm a big follower of CNN.
Okay.
Which tells you that, I'm a big fan of President Biden.
Okay. Yeah, good.
Anyway, I shot like 68% as a sophomore.
Okay.
On 70, I was up to 72 as a junior, and 79.9222 as a senior.
I don't think I ever saw you miss a free throw in practice at Notre Dame when you were shooting them.
Well, what's interesting? My record is 499.
In a row.
And the reason I missed
the
500 shot was missed because the women's PE teacher at South Catholic came in the gym and said to me, "When are you going to leave this gym so we can start our volleyball practice?" And that's when I realized how important concentration is. I hit the front of the rim.
Oh, so you were in a practice?
I was working with the players.
You were working with the players.
And I just started shooting, and they started going in at 100, 120, 150. I kept going, and I missed on the 500 shot.
And because they wanted to play volleyball.
And that's when I really started selling relaxation, concentration, and follow through and freeze the follow through hand.
If I'm watching someone hit 500 free throws, I would give my volleyball team the day off.
Well, I just locked myself in. And anybody can do that if you.
I don't know about that.
If you put pressure on yourself to practice. Perfect practice.
Makes for improvement.
Not make perfect, but it makes for improvement.
See that?
Is that
unbelievable?
Perfect practice is not perfect, but you can get better.
You can get better.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, actually, my last free throw I made at University of Hartford was against Trinity College.
Okay.
I got fouled at the buzzer. The score was 64-64.
Oh.
Time had expired, and I had a free shot. I could hit the buzzer. And that's when I realized just how important that shot is.
Wow.
Swish. NBN. Nothing but
the net. Love it.
And I'm thinking to myself, this is something I got to really stress.
Yeah.
And as you know, because you played under those rules, you had to relax, take 2-second pause.
Yep.
Elbow in, spread the fingers, tight hand, wrinkle.
Window.
Elbow. First motion up, second motion out, thumb down.
That's right.
Slice the ball down the middle. Yep. You got 8 ounces, 9 ounces on the left, 9 ounces on the right.
That's right.
All right, grab a seam.
Unless it's Tom Brady.
Grab the front. Index finger, grab the front of the rim.
Yep.
Your target's
pick the peach.
Over the front. Yeah, I could go on.
You got to pick the peach. Okay. Love that stuff. So awesome. So we're going to get into the basketball, and we're going to get back to that. But I'm going to take you back really far now. Challenge your memory. And I don't know if you know this or not, but I pulled up on a map. I'm just going to show this to you. This is your hometown? Ruviano?
Yes, it is. You son of a gun.
All right. So if you look up, maybe 20 kilometers to the left, is my hometown, where my father.
Oh, my gosh.
Did we ever make this connection?
No.
So Alvignano?
No.
My grandparents are still alive. They're in their mid-90s.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, my father did pass away maybe 4 years ago now, and so we were just there. My family was there maybe 2.5, 3 years ago. But I just made this connection through, again, looking on social media, the same province of Caserta
Caserta, yeah. Sure.
is where my family is from.
Wow.
And this is probably a short train ride or hop on a Vespa over to see where you came from. But talk to us a little bit about, I'm going to bring it back. Talk to us about your mother and father and your early life growing up. What was life like for the Palladinos?
That's a great question. I like the expression. It's all about memories. I grew up in Forestville, which is a little village in Bristol.
Yep.
And I was really fortunate to have some loving parents. My father, mother were both Italian. My father came from a family of 10 siblings. He had nine brothers, or he had 3 brothers and 6 sisters. 5 didn't make it. All right, and my grandmother actually passed away when my dad was 7 years old.
Oh.
And she had 15 children, but the 10 survived, and
Wow.
that's one of the reasons I wanted to write, this story of my life, because I knew very little about my dad. Never talked about his mother because he didn't really know her that well, and his father was a hard-working man and worked in a factory in Southington. And so I wanted to.
Your grandparents you're talking
My grandparents.
Okay.
Yeah, and so my dad never talked about my mother or my grandmother rather, and very little I know about his father other than he used to go back to Italy and bring back some of his friends. He'd make some money in Southington. He worked in a mill.
Okay.
And once a year he'd go back to Italy with a few dollars that he had made, and bring some of his friends over, which was, I thought that was just a great memory for me and great, commitment that he made. And so my mother's family, my grandfather on my mother's side was a very successful worker in the business of tar. He would put tar on driveways and construction business. And she had
an Italian thing?
Big thing, yeah. And I actually worked for my cousin, my grandfather's son, Jerry D'April, his name was. I did a lot of that kind of work when I was 16, 17 in the summer.
Oh, wow.
For my mother, who had a brother and a sister. So the Italian, work ethic, really.
That was instilled at an early age. So
I thought so, and I always wanted credit to the belief that we're all as good as the people around us.
Yeah.
And because my mother was a tremendous mom and so committed to her work ethic, and she worked in a spring factory in Bristol, and we did not have a great deal of money. She used to walk home to save money for the bus ride.
Wow.
It was actually a 3 or 4 mile walk home just to save money on the bus.
So what's your best memories growing up as a kid as it relates to athletics? Did your mom and dad push you to do athletics?
Never.
Or did you did it on your own?
It was 1954. My dad was involved with the Forestville Little League. He was the vice president of the Little League, and we lived across the street from Sarah Reynolds School, and the Little League field was basically right across the street. I can remember forming circles with 8, 9, 10-year-olds picking up stones, throwing them in the middle to clear the field off.
Really?
Oh yeah, and then we had an opportunity. The Little League started in Bristol, and I was 9 years old, 1954, and I just was really encouraged because my father was part of it. So he never pushed me, never, ever, ever. And when we
was he a coach?
Never coached. He was just one of the organizers.
Okay.
He was the vice president. Anyway, he was always there for me. My mom and dad never missed a game. Tremendous supporters, and that encouragement, led me to want to play harder. Just the fact that I wanted to please them.
So would you say, what was the evolution of sports for you? Was it baseball? Because football, typically people get involved in a little bit later, right? Because you're not playing football in first grade, right?
We didn't have midget football in Bristol. We just started in 1959 when Bristol Easton opened up.
Okay.
We didn't have midget football, so Bristol Easton.
Football was high school where you were?
Yeah, September of 59.
So you didn't play any youth football?
No.
Well, how about baseball?
Baseball, Little League.
Little League.
Yeah, I played Little League, and
And what about
it's
basketball?
one of my biggest disappointments. The All-Star game I was supposed to pitch, and I got sick. I didn't play, and that was sad. I played Southington, and that's where my father grew up, and I knew how much that meant to him for me to pitch in the All-Star game.
Live through your kids, as you know.
Against his hometown, Southington, and that's just one of those things that happens, And it's like my senior year, we played against Jimmy Liddy from Fairfield Prep, who was a great player.
Yeah, we were talking about that.
Yeah, and he played at Georgetown, and I sprained my ankle the day before that game. I taped it up, and we lost by 1. We were ranked number 1 in the state, and Fairfield Prep beat us. That was an unfortunate thing.
So when did you start with organized basketball? What was that? Middle school? Was that elementary school, or did you pick that up later?
No, basketball actually for me started at the Forestville Boys Club, which sadly as
How old were you?
I was probably 10.
Okay.
1955.
Okay.
Opened up, and I only lived half a mile from the Boys Club. And that was an influence. We had people in the neighborhood, people my age were walking to the boys' club, and I started playing down there and watching the older kids. I loved to play with the older players.
Yeah.
And I was really fortunate to grow up in a little village community in Bristol that had a boys' club.
Yeah.
And then I put a hoop on the back of the oak tree in my yard on 269 Brook Street and just kept shooting.
That I could imagine. I envision a rim, on a tree with no net.
That's it.
And you shooting 500 free throws. Is there truth to that?
Well, I wish I shot 500. No, but I did put the hoop on an oak tree.
Okay.
And I had a level off the ground. It was dirt.
Okay.
And I had a rubber ball, and I just go back there and...
19
it
what?
was a tug.
50.
That was 1959, 60.
Okay.
Really started getting serious about it. I was
So you'd go to school in the morning, right? What type of student were you?
I was probably one of the worst students in the history of Bristol education.
Why do you say that?
Why? Because I think I had a learning disability and it wasn't recognized.
Well, I'm with you on that. Actually.
I was probably ADD. My level of concentration was very poor. And I was just labeled. I still claim to have the record for the most red marks on a report card in history of Bristol, and there were T's, red T's, and the T was for trying.
Okay.
And they didn't want to bury me.
Well, because you were a good. I can see you being a good kid. Were you getting in trouble?
No, I never. My parents were just.
What happened if you got in trouble?
Well, I got to be honest with you. I don't think I can honestly say.
You were not a trouble kid.
No, I don't remember that. I was very quiet. I didn't like to speak in public. I was even when I started coaching, I was, even at Notre Dame, I never felt comfortable with public speaking. But the longer you do it, repetition is the mother of learning, skill, and success. So if you do this long enough, it's gonna be an asset. But you've got to have. I was blessed with faith, which is a positive plan of action.
Yep.
And so my faith, just keep doing it. Repetition is the mother of learning skill. And I just kept doing it, and God blessed me.
Yeah.
Like I don't think I could have done this interview 60 years ago. I wouldn't know what to say.
Wow. Now you're doing great, Coach.
Now you better say that's enough.
You're doing great. No, we're just getting started.
No, I love this.
We're just getting started. So let's how about your siblings?
Well, my brother was a great role model for me. My brother was the first captain of Bristol Easton High School.
Older, younger? How many do you have?
My brother is 3 years older than me.
Okay.
And my sister, God bless her, she was 6 years older than me.
So you're the baby?
She passed away a couple of years ago.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm the baby. But I'm a big believer. My sister was a great influence. I mean, she helped me with my homework. And just a great supporter of who I was as an athlete and just as a brother. And we had a great relationship. Great sister. Anyway, my brother...
Were they in Connecticut?
Yeah, both lived in Bristol.
Okay.
Where we grew up. And my brother was a master craftsman, as a mason.
Wow.
One of the best they've ever had in Bristol. No doubt about it.
Wow.
He's heading towards 80 now, but he has a great reputation in Bristol as a mason. He was the captain of the football team, Bristol Eastern in 59-60. and he also was through the javelin. So he was a motivator for me. He played Little League ahead of me, and he, didn't put the time and effort into it.
Right.
For
That's the difference, right?
That's a big difference.
That's the difference.
They're as good as the amount of time he put into it. And I'm a big believer in that. I think he could have been, a college player, but he decided to go into the Navy. He was in the Navy when he graduated from Bristol Eastern.
Wow.
In 1960, he went into the Navy. He was just 17, and I'll never forget it. He just felt that it was time for him to
serve.
Yeah, to serve our country, and he was, on a battleship and in the engine room, and he became very successful as a mason. And
how old is he now? He's 80.
He's 70. He's hitting 80. Yeah.
And you still connect? You guys still talk?
We talk often. Yeah, but he was a big inspiration for me.
Wow.
He was my big brother. He was
great.
He was
See, I didn't even know about that.
He was the president of the senior class at Bristol Eastern. First president of senior class. He was the king in the prom. King. He married the queen, who was his wife. His wife now. Yeah.
It's a great story. Who makes a better mason, by the way, the Portuguese or the Italian?
Oh, that's a tough one. We're equal.
We're a little equal?
Equal, I'd say.
I'm a little biased myself, but I've had some good Italians and good Portuguese masons.
Yeah, actually,
it is close.
Yeah, actually, when I left Notre Dame 9 years ago, I started building stone walls.
Really?
Oh yeah, I built a lot of stone walls. I've got more stone from the West Shore beach.
Like for fun in your backyard, or
I've got
Palladino for hire?
Oh, I've built stone walls for quite a few people.
Wow.
Yeah, that's really my tug. Actually, if I ever have a regret and feel the regret, it's probably I should have worked with my brother.
Really?
Yeah, I'd probably be living in a bigger house. That's for sure. I mean,
Masons do very well. Ooh. I feel like Masons just walk up to a job and they look at it and say, 10 grand.
Yeah.
And they get the rocks on the side of the road somewhere, and they put the 10 grand in their pocket.
It's unbelievable.
God bless them.
My brother's in that. That's for sure.
Is that what he does?
He's a gift. No, it's a gift.
Yeah.
And he worked for one of our relatives, Jerry DeApril.
Okay.
My mother's side of the family in construction, and he gets we're all as good as the people around us.
Yeah.
And he got associated with my mother's side of the family, and they were into construction, and he was just there at the right time, and he was encouraged to try to be a mason. He did very well for himself. Actually, his father-in-law was a role model for him, because the woman he married was a mason.
Really?
He actually worked for him, and
a female mason.
His name was Ruley.
Awesome.
Ruley, all right. The Ruleys were both brothers. They were masons in Bristol for many years, and my brother learned a trade from them, and it just took off.
Wow.
Oh yeah, he actually built Miss Porter School in Farmington. There were a lot of buildings there. And
wow. So it's great to hear about mom and dad and your siblings, and we can tell clearly that you put the work in to get your athletics to the next level, right? So take us to high school now. You're at Bristol Eastern?
Bristol Eastern.
4 years?
59 to 63, yeah.
Did you do all 3 sports all 4 years?
I had football, basketball, and baseball.
Freshman, sophomore, junior, senior year?
Starting in my 8th grade.
Okay.
Basketball, it was 19 straight seasons I played.
Wow.
Basketball.
That might be why you never got in trouble. You can't get in trouble either.
Well, my dad was a big influence. When we got a haircut, as a young kid, the barber always said, if you're half as good as your father, you'll be good. My father played in the
You were great. You proved that.
My father played in the first night football game in Soldiers Field.
Oh, wow.
At St. Vitus College for Fido Murphy, who was the Chicago Bears coach. So my father was a tremendous influence on me.
Yeah.
He was an all-state player at Southington High School, one of the first. And he has a wonderful collection of memories and a scrapbook that his sister, Emily, put together for him. He never collected anything. She did, and she gave it to me. He actually kicked a football, punted. And one game he punted 86 yards.
Wow.
A punt.
That's unheard of.
It was a drop kick, the ball in those days. It was a little bigger, I think.
Yeah.
And 88 yards. And
that's unheard of.
Oh, it's unbelievable. Yeah, he played for St. Vitus College.
Wow.
In Illinois. and was nicknamed Little Boy Blue in Southington after Albie Booth, who played at Yale.
Wow.
So they compared my father with Albie Booth. So, when people started talking about, sports in the barbershop, I say, God, this is really exciting, fun.
Yeah.
I'm proud of my
What else
dad.
do you do at a barbershop,
My
right?
dad.
Just talk about your
They used to
dad.
put clippings up,
Yeah.
when I'd score points at University of Hartford or Bristol Eastern.
Yeah.
They put a bulletin board up, and that to me was an incentive. I really like that. I like seeing my name in the paper.
Who doesn't?
A little like Coach Vieira, who lives a couple of streets over, and we still.
Oh, get out of here.
Oh yeah.
Oh, wow.
Coach Vieira was, he also spent some time in Bristol. He coached at St. Anthony's.
I didn't realize how many great coaches were from that area.
And I don't know if you remember Mike Boguslawski, but he was on Channel 8, I'm in Your Corner.
Okay.
He was an all-stater at St. Anthony's.
Okay.
Mike Boguslawski, great influence on me as a kid because he was just a character.
Okay.
And Coach Vieira coached Mike Boguslawski, who I'm in Your Corner.
Wow.
Channel 8, yeah, that was a great. I still see Coach Vieira. He's 89 now, and
Wow.
we're very good friends. And
where are you living now? Where do you live these days?
I live in West Haven.
West Haven.
Yeah, 15 Lake Street, right across from the closest lake.
Now you're gonna get a whole bunch of cards.
In Connecticut.
You just gave your address out on the internet. Everyone's gonna send you cards now. They're gonna want to interview you.
I said, how come that's a lake? How come they call it a lake? It looks like a little pond. It's because it's fresh water.
There you go. That makes it a lake.
So I learned something from that. But I love West Haven because it's a great sports community.
Oh yeah.
And I've got some great memories of coaching against West Haven players.
Oh yeah.
So many of them. As
Oh
you
yeah.
know. You played against them. And they were good.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you know this, but I grew up. At elementary school, I played at St. Lawrence, and my coach was Rob Bowen, who is actually a principal now in West Haven in one of the middle schools. I think Bailey. Yeah, Bailey Middle School, and he coached me not only in St. Lawrence basketball, but also he was the president of the West Haven Fundamental Basketball League, where the day I graduated 8th grade, he allowed me to become a referee. So I was actually refereeing basketball every Saturday morning.
Oh, that's great.
As you know, that was our only day off. I don't think I ever told you this because you told me to rest on Saturdays.
That's right.
I was reffing 6 basketball games.
As long as you're involved with basketball.
Yeah, exactly.
But I love Father Jetty at St. Lawrence.
Oh, yeah.
Great guy. He loves sports.
That's a shame they're closing down the church there at St. Lawrence.
That's where I go. That's where I used to go.
Yeah, my mom used to too.
Yeah, it's a great community.
Yeah.
I love West Haven because I always thought it was very comparable to Bristol.
Yeah.
Blue collar, down to earth people.
Yeah, middle class.
Yeah. And
he was a parties guy? Zupardi's?
Zupardi's, sure. And
the best pizza.
Lorenzo's.
Oh, yeah.
I love Lorenzo.
Lorenzo's amazing.
Great family.
Yep.
But Zupardi's is
very good pizza.
Well known.
Very well known.
How about Connecticut in general, the pizza?
It's amazing.
Yeah, because my son Michael lives in Byfield, Mass, and he said you can't compare to pizza.
No, New Haven and now with Zupardi's, there's even Roseland. Amazing pizza around here. People are flying in just to make a weekend out of it, eat the pizza. It's amazing.
Isn't that funny?
And I went to Zupardi's in between school when it got out at 2 and practice. I used to go to Zupardi's every day.
No
6th, 7th, and 8th grade.
Wow.
So I was spoiled. It was the best pizza. To me, it's number one, even better than the New Haven.
Well, pizza's obviously part of our heritage.
Oh, yeah.
I actually built a pizza oven in my backyard.
Oh, I'm sure you did.
I have my own pizza oven, and
You have to send me a picture of that.
I love that pizza oven. Yeah, I spent a lot of time eating pizza in my backyard.
Yeah, of course.
Well, that comes from Ruviano, Italy, from my cousins. They have their own pizza oven, and of course everything is handmade over there. And they're the Inzero family in Ruviano, Italy. I'm sure anybody from Ruviano or Caserta knows what Ruviano is.
Oh, I'm sure.
And my cousins are still there, and we keep in touch, email and that type of thing. So I've been blessed to have a connection with my dad's side of the family.
Yeah. So high school is a tremendous success for you athletically. In the classroom, you mentioned, you weren't the, grade A student, but you tried really hard. You got a lot of T's, right?
You remember that?
You got a lot of T's, which is great. And then, so you now are recruited. Were you recruited heavily out of high school?
Actually, it's football.
It was football.
I had more football offers than basketball.
So what made you go the basketball route?
Well,
How do you choose?
After the disappointment of not being able to go out to play for Utah, for Ray Nagel at University of Utah, I took a little break, and I thought to myself, and my dad and I talked about maybe basketball. And so actually we called the University of Hartford. Gordon McCullough was the coach, and asked him if the scholarship was still available.
Okay.
And he says, yeah, it's yours if you want it. So I accepted the scholarship to play basketball. That's when I started really getting serious about basketball. But I was lifting weights all that summer.
Oh.
In 63, summer 63, I was just...
So when did you commit to basketball? Was that during season, end of season? Do you remember when you committed to?
August.
So summer?
August of 63.
Is that going into your senior year?
After I graduated.
After you graduated. So what did you do? Were you just playing basketball like
I was
crazy?
playing American Legion baseball.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we won a state championship in 62. And my eighth grade history teacher, Jim Bates, was the American Legion coach too. He was the one that asked me, I said it in the book, 10 straight questions. I was sitting in the first seat in the third row right in front of his desk. He asked me 10 straight questions.
Oh.
And I said, I don't know. I'm sorry, I don't know.
10 times?
And it was embarrassing. Anyway, but he was a very competitive guy, and he pushed me quite a bit. I had so much respect for him because he pushed me, constantly as an athlete.
Mm-hmm.
Because he was our eighth grade basketball and baseball coach at Green Hill School in Forestville. And so when I had him as American Legion coach, won a state championship in 62, I invited him to be a member of my wedding.
Wow.
And
pretty close.
He was tough. But I had so much respect for him.
Yeah.
Because he taught me the 10 most important two-letter words. If it is to be, it is up to me.
Yep.
If it is to be, it is up to me. And I have tremendous respect for how he pushed me, and now I don't know if he'd get away with what he did in those days.
Yeah.
It's just a different era, But I did play, on that team with Tommy Chope, who ended up playing for the Yankees.
Wow.
And he played left field with Mickey Mantle. And that goes back to 60s.
Wow.
Yeah, 68. He played for the Baltimore Orioles. So.
Wow. Who would you say is your biggest role model? Who's had the biggest impact on your life?
Wow, that's a great question. Biggest, probably my father, I have to say.
Yeah.
My father.
Sounds like it.
Because, I wanted to emulate him. He played football and basketball and baseball at the Lewis High School before Southington, was established. And I'd say my father won. Jimmy Bates certainly has to be included with Coach Carlson at Bristol Easton. He was a great influence on me. All my coaches, were influential in my drive and determination to just be the best I could be.
Yeah. Yeah, so it seems like your dad had a just very influential in instilling work ethic in you.
Tremendous influence on me because, when I be with him in Forestville, people would say to me as a young kid, if you're half as good as your father, you're going to be good.
Yeah.
And so that, really was an influence on me, frankly. And, I just had this tug to be involved because of the Forestville Boys Club was there.
Yeah.
And I was friends with people my age that liked to play.
Yep.
We had a field in the backyard. So I was really lucky to be in the right place at the right time.
Yeah.
That's why I'm a big believer in the importance of humility.
Mm-hmm.
And I was
losing.
I was blessed.
Gotta lose.
Well, you gotta appreciate winning, lose before you appreciate winning.
Totally.
Put it that way.
Yeah.
And I've lost. We lost a lot of games by 1 point, but sometimes it's not meant to be.
Yeah.
So you move forward.
Yeah. So college days, obviously you were a stud. There's no better word. You were just a stud. To score that many points, to get all that, all those accolades, all American, all East, that's incredible. But when you graduated now, you entered the world of professional basketball.
Yes.
So was Gulf Oil?
Well, I played for Gulf Oil for 4 months in Europe. We traveled to 19 countries.
Wow.
Yeah, we lost to we won over 100 games, but we lost to the Russians. The Russians beat us twice, and the Czechoslovakians beat us once.
Wow.
And we had
So you had a pretty good record.
one of the best players I ever played was Ricardo Duarte from Brazil. He was 6'9", and he actually at the time he was the leading scorer in the Olympic Games.
Oh, wow.
Playing for Brazil. And he was on our team. A great guy, just a regular guy.
So this is the late 60s?
This is summer of 1968.
So
When I came back, I had the offer to coach. I lectured at Coach Riley's camp at South Catholic, and he offered me the job because Gene was going to.
So how does one get invited to play internationally, professionally? Do you get scouted? Do you get letters in the mail saying, hey?
Actually, that's a great question. Actually, the University of Hartford basketball office got a letter saying, do you have anyone that's interested in trying out for the team?
Okay.
And Gordon McCullough mentioned my name to Gulf Oil coach Jim McGregor.
Okay.
And they invited me to a tryout at Cutcher's Country Club, Monticello, New York, and it was a 7-day tryout. Guys come all over the country were coming in to the Monticello to try out for the team. And,
Wow.
I was calling my mom and dad, telling them I'll be home tomorrow. I'm going to get cut. There's just too many good players there. I really felt I was the last guy to make the team. There was like 15 on the team.
Oh, wow.
But actually, 3 of them signed contracts as soon as we got there, professional contracts.
Wow.
And I was very fortunate because I was the smallest guy on the team. I was 5'10", and the next smallest guy was 6'1".
5'9"3/4", right?
Yeah. Kid by the name of Dan Zoll played at Colgate. He was the next, I think, smallest guy. And a kid by the name of Rodriguez from San Francisco was like 6'1".
So that was an intense 4 months, right?
Oh, like 4, yeah. We played every day until I got hurt.
Okay.
I made a mistake in a tournament in Belgium. I was driving to the basket, and they just sandwiched me, and I tore my cartilage.
Oh.
And that hurt me a lot.
So your playing career ended basically due to injury?
I'd have to say my playing career ended because of a player by the name of Eddie Griffin.
Okay.
when I returned, I was drafted by the Hartford Capitals as a 4th-round pick, and I played for a season for York Larice, who played at North Carolina.
Okay, so the 4 months were overseas. When you got hurt, did you finish the season there, or because the 4 months?
Actually, the coach was great. Coach McGregor was great. He coached at New Mexico State, and then he coached for Gulf Oil. And the coach McGregor actually asked me to coach half the team. Half the team went north to play, and we were in Italy at the time, to Belgium.
Okay.
And he took his team to Kuwait, the other half of the team. So he asked me if I'd coach the team and organize the agenda and the
I see.
itinerary.
So when you were done overseas,
I was coaching the team.
you came back here and then played here.
I came back here and played for Hartford Capitals.
How many years or seasons did you play?
Actually, the trainer from the Hartford Capitals, his name was Altieri, was taping Joe Namath's knee. The next day, I was playing Saturday.
Really?
He was taping Joe Namath's knee the next day. I said, this is just an honor.
Tape same guy taping me.
The same guy taping Joe Namath is taping Gary Palladino.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
So how long did you play in Hartford?
Oh, it wasn't very long until Eddie Griffin showed up.
Was that a year or is that 2 years?
No, a year. I was one season.
One season. And that was at the end of your professional?
I was very, very fortunate just to have an opportunity. My knee was taped. I had a torn cartilage. And
Did they pay? Did they pay to play?
I was playing. Actually, that's an interesting story because they asked me. They asked me if I would sign a contract for $50 a game, and I said, "Geez, you know what?
That's exactly why I'm asking. $50 a game.
I was, geez, I'll be honest with you. I think I'm worth more than that. You talk about humility.
Oh yeah.
Embarrassing.
Yeah.
They said you're right. How does $55 a game?
Well, they stepped it up.
Wow, way up, right? And York Larice was probably he played in North Carolina.
Yeah.
Was probably making $400 a game. But anyway,
is that what would have been considered good money back 400?
55?
No, not that. But would $400 a game be considered?
For the Eastern League, no, I'd probably say yeah.
Yeah.
Probably about right.
Yeah.
The first game that I played in, I had to guard Mike Reardon from Providence.
Okay.
I will never forget that. That was the most humbling experience. He played for the Knicks.
Okay.
He played for Providence, of course, with Jimmy Walker.
Isn't it amazing the difference in the talent level and when you go from competitive college, right? And you played with the best in college, then you go overseas, and then you go to professionally, and you're like, I'm humbled.
Yeah, that's a great word. And I'll give you a perfect example of that experience. When I started coaching, I really felt it was important for the player who was being recruited to be able to play for a team that he's not just another player.
Yeah.
All right? You're better off being a big fish in a small pond.
Agreed.
And that's what my father taught me. He said that to me all the time. Big fish, small pond. So if I went out to Utah to play football, who the heck knows what would have happened? But I was in the right place at the right time.
Yeah.
I'm a big believer in faith, and God led me to the University of Hartford, where obviously I had an opportunity to play 40 minutes.
Yeah.
And so, that's why I'm so grateful that most of the players that I encouraged to play Division III at Notre Dame, we had in my stay there, we had 44 Division III, 3 Division II, and 3 Division I.
Yeah.
Bullock,
Santos.
Magano, and Santos.
Yeah, I still connect with Pete. We talk on social media, so I'm sure he's going to be one of the first ones tuning in to watch this.
Well, please tell him I said hello, because we
tell him yourself.
We email. We do email.
Yeah, that's
we email. We
awesome.
do keep in touch.
He's in Finland now.
He's in Finland. He played professionally in Finland.
Music career, embarking on a music career.
Oh my God, he does that rap.
Yeah, you love that music, don't you?
Love Pete Santos. Quick story about Pete Santos.
Sure.
When he was a freshman, he came into the office with his shoes that were size 17. I'll never forget this. Pete had a size 14 foot, all right? And he wanted to wear these 17 shoes. And I said, Pete, why would you want to wear shoes that are like 3 sizes too big for you? Yeah. He says, because my dad, I love his father.
Oh, yeah.
Fireman in Hartford.
Yeah.
Or New Haven, rather. Anyway, his father said, Pete, you're going to grow into him. You'll save us some money.
Save us some money.
I said, Pete, look at your phone on your phone.
How does Notre Dame West Haven land Pete Santos? I mean, he was pretty.
Well,
people wanted him.
That's a great question. I am never ever going to be accused of recruiting, as far as I'm concerned. And it's not. If anybody ever accused me of recruiting,
the storylines would never align.
No, because you know why? We'd be a lot better.
Yeah.
We'd be a lot better. I never enticed a kid, and I just didn't believe in it because I coached at East Hartford High School. Mm-hmm. And I coached at Portland High School. And I know that's a tremendous advantage. We had like 58 towns represented in our school. Different students.
Yeah.
That in itself is a big advantage in a Catholic school.
Huge advantage.
Look at East Catholic. Look at Northwest Catholic this year.
Yeah.
Tremendous. And you're not going to get too many players that Bristol Central get at 7'2".
Right. I know. He's playing at UConn?
Going to UConn, yeah.
Yeah. Have you seen him play?
I have not seen him play, no.
Okay.
But 7'2" and probably 1/8, he's probably going to get a little taller.
He's going to get a little taller.
Yeah, he better be able to run. I'm watching him.
They say he's pretty agile.
He's got to be. I haven't seen him, but God bless his height. He's got a great opportunity.
Yeah. So let's talk about. So we basically went through your growing up, right? We talked about high school, college success. Let's talk about your Palladino family.
My Palladino family?
Let's talk about your kids. Let's talk about.
Oh, isn't that thoughtful?
Let's hear a little bit about them.
That is so nice of you.
Of course. We got to talk about your family.
I get that question too often.
I know, but that's what we're here for.
My oldest son, Michael, Michael. We got a phone call when Michael was 5 years old. 5 years old, and he answered the phone, and he said, the person said, can I talk to Gary? And he said, Mike, at 5 years old, said, I'm Gary. And the gentleman on the other end was Vince Cassetta, he coached in the ABA. He was a great coach. Coached at Seattle, Connie Hawkins.
Okay.
Coached Elgin Baylor.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. And he was a good friend of mine. Worked for Converse Shoes. Became very good friends. I was at the University of Hartford at the time. And Coach Cassetta said to Michael, "No, your father." All right. And after the conversation, Michael said, Gary said, "Call me Mike. It's confusing."
Oh, okay. So I learned that. I didn't know that.
Well, he was blessed with his mother's intelligence. He went to Yale.
That you have very successful kids.
Yeah.
That I know.
Yeah,
so
he was actually he was our point guard at Notre Dame, and I'll never forget the 2 shots he made at the buzzer. First year, a 3-point shot at the buzzer. He made one against St. Thomas Aquinas. We won.
Okay.
Made one against St. Joe's, the great Vito Montelli team.
That's right.
At the buzzer. And we won, and I was named the New Haven Register Coach of the Year, and that's when I mean, come on.
That's awesome.
You're as good as
I
you
beat
play.
Vito Montelli also in 1998 on the free throw line.
You did.
I did. You remember?
I was going to mention that.
I just wanted to throw that in there. He's a legend.
You were underrated, and God bless you. Your track ability, but you would have been a great Division III player as well. There's no doubt about it.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, and Michael went on to play at Yale. Track, cross country.
Wow.
He won a state championship, in the track, and he went out to. He actually went out to Boulder, Colorado, and ran with Frank Shorter, who was a Yale graduate, won a gold medal.
Oh wow.
And Mike had an opportunity to run in the Olympics, but he was 2 seconds short, so he missed out on it.
Oh wow. So is he local now?
Michael lives in Byfield, Mass.
Okay. Kids?
He's a vice president of a medical firm in Boston.
Okay.
And he's got 3 sons, and 2 of them are playing sports right now, and one younger boy probably will too. One's playing baseball right now. The other one's a baseball player too. That's it's great to have great grandsons.
Oh, I'm sure.
To play sports. Yeah.
Yeah. You lived through them, right?
Yeah, and
so that's Michael?
yeah, that's Gary Michael Palladino.
Gary Michael, right?
It's hard to believe. Jeez, he's going to be 50.
Wow.
Is that possible?
And so is he your oldest?
He's the oldest. And
Okay.
then Amy has played at Sacred Heart Academy
Oh, okay.
basketball.
I did not know that.
Oh yeah, she was a point guard
Really?
for Coach Piazza at Sacred Heart, and she also was, on the soccer team. Played softball. She was a good athlete. She went to Manhattan for a year and then transferred to New York City.
Oh, wow.
To NYU, and now owns 4 hair salons.
In
3 in Connecticut, and then 1 in
New Haven County?
one. Let's see, one's one in Richfield, 1 in Wilton, and 1 in Westport.
Great. Wow. Very successful.
Oh yeah, she's done very well.
Feel free to give her free plug. I mean, that's what this is about.
And she won another one in Florida.
Awesome.
But she's just an entrepreneur. Husband is into the business as well. Very, very talented
And
people.
kids?
They have 2 sons,
Okay.
Magnus and Thor.
Okay. Great names.
Magnus is a freshman, runs cross country, runs with a varsity team at Ridgefield High School.
Oh, okay.
And Thor wants to be a basketball player, so he's playing in their league, in the 8th grade league. And
Well, you have some more games to watch for another 4 years.
I hope so. And
Yeah.
my youngest son, Serge,
Yes.
lives in London.
And where did he go to college? He was very successful, very smart kid also, I
Actually,
remember.
Serge went to Coast Guard Academy.
Coast Guard Academy.
Yeah, he went
Right.
to Coast Guard Academy. He was
Awesome.
also a runner. He was a run cross country.
Wow.
Yeah.
Married kids?
Serge has twins.
Okay.
Boy and a girl, and an older boy loves baseball.
Awesome.
Baseball, yeah. So he's.
So how many grandkids do you have?
I have. Let's see.
You got to count them up, right?
I got 10.
10.
10.
Wow.
10.
So you go through a short stint coaching at Bristol, and then St. Paul or No,
I started coaching at South Catholic.
South Catholic.
Started coaching at South Catholic for 2 years.
2 years.
Portland for 2 years.
Portland.
St. Paul for 3. We won the state championship back to back.
Right. And then do you go college in between there?
After St. Paul, I went to college for 6 years. Then after that, I went to East Hartford for 1 year. Hank Giardi.
That's okay. You coached there.
I coached East Hartford for 1 year. Then they merged. Penny High School and East Hartford merged to one.
Okay.
And because of the low, I was on the low man on the staff. 1 year experience, seniority.
Yeah.
I didn't have that. And that's when Rich Palladino, who was coaching at St. Bernard's, the great Harold Presley was playing at St. Bernard's, a great player, played at Villanova. He called me, says, there's a job open at Notre Dame in West Haven. Ralph Proto had just resigned, and I called up Joe Tonelli.
Yeah, I was just gonna make that segue into your relationship with the legendary Joe Tonelli. How did that happen?
You talk about right place, right time.
Yeah.
I met Coach Tonelli through Coach Riley at South Catholic.
Okay.
Because Coach Tonelli,
Yeah, how do they know?
he coached under Joe Riley at South Catholic.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Is he from up that way also?
No, Coach Tonelli grew up in New Haven. Now he lives in Milford. So we went down one day as a social, day one Sunday, and I met Coach Tonelli, who was obviously a legendary player at Notre Dame, a great baseball player.
How good was he?
He was one of the best. I remember American Legion. He was hurt when we won the state championship in '62. He played shortstop, second base, great second baseman in high school, American Legion. Tremendous athlete. All right, and then he went on to coach at South Catholic for Joe Riley. He got a job there.
Wow.
And just a great overall baseball and basketball player.
We're going to make a shift now to Notre Dame, and obviously I'm a graduate, 1998, and the impact that a place like that has on someone. But that place has you talk about it in your book too. You were looking for a family, right? You were looking for a place to kind of settle down, get your coaching career really going. And you mentioned in the book that Notre Dame, West Haven fit that mold. Tell us why and how you knew that.
Well, first of all, I loved coaching basketball, and I had met Coach Tonelli, of course, from the South Catholic days, and I had always had tremendous respect for him as a player. He was an all-state player with one of my teammates, Terry Burke, in 1962. So I knew of Coach Tonelli's reputation, and he was on the same all-state team with Eddie Griffin and Phil Brooks and my teammate Terry Burke, and Gene Riley, the great Gene Riley, 1962, played at Berkeley. So I admired, those players, and certainly I knew about Notre Dame and West Haven because in high school we played in the second game at the New Haven Arena. That's when I first saw Joe Tonelli play.
Oh, okay.
Lloyd Hinchy from Norwich Free Academy. We played in the second game against Weaver. So watching Joe Tonelli play basketball was amazing. I mean, he was a great player.
Yeah.
And South Carolina, amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And
okay, that's where he played.
That's where he played.
Yeah,
South Carolina. And I remember, how great he could handle the ball and what a great leader he was, on and off the floor. So that was just like a dream come true for me to have an opportunity to work for such a legendary figure as Joe Tonelli. I mean, he's in all the Hall of Fames. He was National Athletic of the Year. And
how supportive was he of your coaching style and when you needed something?
First of all, you don't survive 21 years of coaching without having a loyal athletic director. I mean, there's no way. I
knew the answer to that question before I asked it, but I wanted to hear you.
There's no way in the world that any athletic director is going to agree with every decision a coach makes.
Yeah.
Just too many of them, And yet he had a great disposition about him. He valued loyalty, more than criticism. He was a real loyalist.
It's a good way to put it.
I'm serious when I tell you. I mean, I made my share of mistakes. There's no question about it. A mistake is not a mistake unless you refuse to correct it. He had a way of correcting it, in the way he just communicated. He's a genius in communication. You're as good as the people around you. There's no doubt about it. And I'm sure Coach Marcucci, the football coach, would say the same thing.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you can't be a
He's
coach
another legend
without making mistakes.
Yep.
So,
yeah.
And that's what makes Notre Dame so special to me is the loyalty.
Yeah.
You have to live it to experience it to really appreciate Joe Tonelli. I mean, he's the most respected athletic mind. Be honest with you, I've ever been associated with.
You say it best. You don't have that long of a tenure. You don't have that much success without the support of a great, athletic director. I mean, parents now, I want to get into a little bit of that. But parents
let me
now.
just say one thing. Excuse
Yeah.
me. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Coach Tonelli had a great expression. He says, I know you know what you're doing, but you might want to consider.
Well, that's a good one.
All right? I know you know what you're doing, but you might want to consider, and that's why he's the godfather.
That's a classic, like build you up, but then come back to earth. Is that?
It's called a sledgehammer. Right. Well, thank you for telling me I'm an idiot.
Yeah, but it's it's not so much always what you say, but how you say it,
He was
right?
the most diplomatic. That's why he was the athletic director of the year in the nation.
Yeah, no, he's the real deal.
And he's the chairperson for the officials in the state.
Yeah.
What better person can
He's
you
the perfect guy for that job. Is there a better person for the CIAC than?
Perfection. No, he would be a great president for the CIAC.
Yes.
And
Anything to do with high school athletics, he's your guy.
Well, I often thought when I was, working for him, it was an honor, and I thought he would have been a great governor.
Oh,
I mean, he knows
no
people.
doubt, no question.
He's a genius.
No question.
He's a genius.
What is if you were coaching now, literally right now, what do you think would be the biggest challenge with your coaching style going up against the parents of today? What would be your biggest challenge as a coach dealing with the way that parents are today?
Biggest challenge, probably, I have to say, getting the players and the parents on the same page. Because the parents aren't in the gym for 2-3 hours a day, and they're so influential on how, the players think, how they feel, because their feelings are valid. And I really believe my legacy is centered around survival of 45 years, because I was really demanding. I could never ever coach the way I used to coach, and
What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that?
Well, I think, for example, you had to have a hairstyle that was team oriented, no facial hair. You had to shave.
I know it.
All right. You had to tuck your shirt in. Everyone had tuck your shirt in practice. Because what you did in practice,
you do in the game.
That's the rule.
Yeah.
Everyone had the same colored shoes.
Oh.
Socks. You had to show at least 2 inches of
2
white
inches.
socks.
Oh.
You never had to be on time. You had to be early.
Yep.
The rigid formula of coaching that Bobby Knight basically established, and was one of the people I emulated, which was wrong in a lot of ways.
I was going to ask you that next.
I saw the chair going across the gym floor through it. And, it was a different era.
Yeah.
Coach Riley was tough at South Catholic. He instilled that toughness in me. But
So you beat me to the punch here, but I was going to ask you, what coach do you think you emulated with your coaching style if you had to choose somebody, whether it's NCAA level, professional level? Who would you say your coaching style was most like?
Well, no, in those days, in the 70s, everybody was trying to find a mix, a blend between Coach Wooden and Coach Knight, the strict disciplinarian.
Is that what you tried to do?
Yeah, a strict disciplinarian.
Yeah.
I was trying to communicate, as Coach Wooden was a genius doing.
Yeah.
But I didn't have maybe because I'm Italian. If I look back, I was too emotional. I would allow the players to play more, let them be themselves more. And I really felt the discipline that Bobby Knight projected beginning at West Point, with Krzyzewski. I remember going to a clinic when Krzyzewski was the captain of West Point, the Army team, and Bobby Knight. It was all about structure and high expectations.
Yeah.
And it wasn't realistic. I think he got to bend a little bit.
Well, I can say maybe from a wins and loss standpoint, maybe, but when it comes to what you instilled in your players, I remember how my socks had to be. And I can't actually even stomach watching a high school team warm up now because one guy's got long pants under his shorts, the other guy's wearing pink shoes, the other guy's got green hair, the other guy's got his socks all the way up. It actually throws me off. I'm like, you should all be wearing, I was lucky enough to captain the '98 team with Pete Santos.
That's right.
We all went out and we bought matching jump. If you watch I don't know, is there any video of our games? I'd love to see that. But I mean, I remember picking the shoes, and I said to everybody, "These are the shoes. Give me $150 tomorrow. We're all going to wear the same shoes." And anything we did as a team. If you follow the '98 run, we put our socks up to our knees. Then the paper caught on. They went back to Tonelli, and what year was Tonelli's championship run?
Oh, 62.
Right. So they had, and there was this whole comparison to our '98 team, but we did it as a team.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't like I was out there with my socks so I could get attention. I actually can't watch these kids now, and I wish, if I had one wish for even, Notre Dame, West Haven, Notre Dame, even Fairfield that I'm involved in now, I wish they would go back to a little bit of that discipline, look the same. There is no, you want to stick out, you want to look good. Like, let everybody look the same. It'll transcend to the court.
Well, you said it very well. I appreciate you saying that. As a former great point guard, leader of our team, it's about sameness.
Yeah.
I thought Coach Knight, incredible, still a lot of young coaches in that mentality. Whether it was the uniform, the hair.
Starts there.
Poker face. I watched the game last night, and these people, make a shot. They think like it's the greatest thing that ever happened.
Yeah. You got to act like you did it before.
Poker face.
Yeah.
And D. Rowe projected that mentality too.
Yeah.
I loved Coach Rowe when he was at Worcester Academy.
Yeah.
I almost went there. Coach Carlson brought me to Worcester Academy, and I'll never forget. I was standing there with Coach Rowe, Coach Carlson, and he said, "I'd love to have Palladino, but we already have 6 guards. What are we going to do with them?"
Yeah.
I wouldn't have played. So that's when I actually made a decision to go to University of Hartford.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, it's such a different world today we're living, and sameness to me is, I don't know, it's like a catch-22.
Yeah.
You got to be yourself. Yeah. I mean, look at the hairstyles.
Oh, I know. Oh, that would.
I mean, okay, I'm old-fashioned, but I'm proud of being old-fashioned because I'm a big believer in.
But again, wins and losses aside, nobody says if you wear the same thing you're going to win more games. But what you instilled with your intensity, coaching like Bobby Knight, or getting in people's faces. I mean, there was a practice, and I don't know if you remember Jim Bartolotta. You remember Jim? Great player. He played on our team. He was on that '98 team.
A gentleman.
Total gentleman.
I got to tell you before I interrupt.
Yeah.
His mother and father walked by my house. They liked him.
Yeah.
And I said, I'm so sorry the way I yelled at your son. He was a gentleman.
Oh, I'm going to tell you a story. So I still keep in touch with a lot of great. Jim's great guy, super smart.
Oh, yeah.
But there was a practice where, and I'll never compare myself to Michael Jordan, but do you remember the game where Michael Jordan had the flu? And he was like, so this wasn't a game, it was a practice situation. I was clearly sick. I had like 102 fever, but I was afraid to miss practice because then you wouldn't let me play in the game.
Right.
And, I was just afraid. So I went to practice. It was very clear that I was under the weather.
Yeah.
And I must have been missing layups or shots, and you could tell I was sick. And you just said, "Mara, are you sick? You want to go home?
Yeah.
You want to go home?" And I remember that now, and I refused to go home. So now you fast forward 15 years, I see Jim Bartolotta out, and what do you think we're talking about? What do you think he's saying? We're out some bar, probably having a drink somewhere, and he says, "Mara, are you sick? Go home."
Are you serious?
Oh yeah. So those are the things we remember. I don't remember winning a league game or anything. I mean, there are things I remember, but what we remember is you were on us. You could care less that I had 102 fever and clearly was sick. You give it 100%, and I was giving it 100%, but
Well, to be honest with you now,
great story.
Back, I haven't said those things in obviously a long time, but that's one of my regrets. I think I was pretty tough. I was a Bobby Knight type of mentality that we kind of grew up with in the 60s.
Don't regret that. But what I'm telling you is that's what I remember.
It was never personal. That was my big thing.
People take it personal. That's the problem.
That's a dilemma.
What would have happened if I went home and told my mommy that you yelled at me to go home if I was sick? Now my mom would have said, "Shut up and listen to your coach," right? But now you're going to get a different phone call from the parent.
Well, I had Pete Santos's mother in my living room.
Yeah.
With Peter, we talked about how tough I was on Pete. And, and he ended up being a great player.
Yeah, Bucknell.
Yeah, went to Bucknell. Yeah, Bucknell, and Division I, that level for Pete was a stretch, but he played.
Yeah.
played, but I think he could have been an All-American at Wesleyan.
Yeah, smart guy too. I mean,
I had 9 players that played at Wesleyan for Herb Kenny. And
Pete was a 4.0, smart, really smart guy.
very, very bright, very sure of himself. I admired his confidence. He had a high level of self-esteem, and that was an advantage.
Yeah. So you coached what, 3 of the 4 basketball teams from Notre Dame West Haven that went to the state finals, or 2?
2.
You coached. Was it Walania?
Al Walania. No,
or Eric.
Eric Walania. Eric.
Yep.
And Eric.
So 2 you coached.
Went to Dartmouth.
Dartmouth.
And Alan went to Notre Dame. Alan was an excellent pitcher for the University of Notre Dame.
Okay.
He decided to go with baseball. Eric also played baseball
At Dartmouth.
Dartmouth, yeah.
So who was the better team? The 94 team or the 98 team?
94 or 98, I'd say they're equal.
Equal.
About the same.
What do you remember about the runs? What do you remember about the 98 run, our team?
That you accepted being coached hard. I mean, you were coached very hard. You know? Today, I don't know if players are willing to be questioned as often as I did, or put on the spot as often as I put you guys on. It tested your toughness. Your mental toughness was unique. So you handle it. You handle it well, and you never made it personal. And that's the big thing. I never wanted to be personal, but I kind of stretched a little bit. And I think it has a lot to do with the way I was coached.
Yeah.
In high school, Burr Carlson at Bristol Easton. He was a tough son of a gun. I mean, and Jimmy Bates, American Legion, they were pretty tough.
Yeah.
I mean, they.
But all those experiences made you.
They actually cultivated who I was, as a coach.
Do you have all these wins if you're not coaching hard?
Definitely not. No, I think I stretched their imagination. I stretched their toughness, mental toughness, right to the limit. Very few people quit. And they were willing to accept that this is who I am. You want to play basketball, then you're going to have to play as hard as you can for as long as you can. You're never going to be on time. You're going to be early. You're going to tuck your shirts in with no faces.
Love it.
And make a great play. You don't put your arm up in the air and tell everybody how wonderful you are. You're just a member of the team. And I watched these guys last night on television, and I said, wow, he made a great play. It's just one play.
Act like you did it before.
Yeah, poker face, that was my big thing. That was who I was. And I learned when I started, Coach Riley taught me, at South Catholic back in '68, you got to be your own person, And I don't know if his style of coaching would fit today either. I mean, he was very demanding.
If you could go back and do something different in your life, doesn't have to be basketball related, it could be just anything that you did that maybe you would do differently, what would that be?
What a great question. What would I do differently? I tell you the truth, I think I spent more time in my schoolwork.
Okay.
I was so focused, and my energy and my ambition was centered on sports. That's where I felt success. Whether I was ADD or I had a deficiency of some sort academically, I very, very short attention span in school. I probably would have spent more time in studying. I had a very difficult time reading. My father, I remember when I was like 9, 10 years old, got me a reading teacher because I just struggled reading. And I ended up a history major at the University of Hartford, and it really took me by surprise how much reading I had to do, and I couldn't do it. So I was motivated through sports. I never missed a class. That's one of my lessons. Doing what you're supposed to do it right, do it for a reason, and do it all the time. And I went to class. And so that's how I think I got through college, because I think the professors knew, I wasn't there just to play basketball and baseball.
I appreciate you coming on. You, for me, were a tremendous life coach. The basketball was great. It was fun. I always tell people jokingly in my real estate classes, I used to think I was going to the NBA, and somehow I ended up here in Monroe on Monroe Turnpike in this little room teaching you about real estate. But the things that you taught me have extended well past my basketball and any days, even competing, on track and field in college. And I pass those lessons along to my own kids. And I want you to know how much of an impact you've had, not just on me, but all your past players and the people you taught at Notre Dame and the people you coached. Appreciate you coming on today to tell us a little bit about your life, and I'm glad that you're doing so well.
Don't change. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm so proud of your success.
Thank you.
And your young son I met at the game.
Yeah.
I'll never forget the look on his face.
Oh, it's awesome. He was so happy to meet you.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
He's blessed to take after his mother. No, I love him.
That's the truth. That's the truth. Well, thanks for tuning in. The Expect Better podcast. Subscribe, like. Until next time, thanks. Gary Palladino, legendary basketball coach, here with us. Thanks, Coach.